I think it actually started a few months before the pandemic. When you look at data from our retail flow portal VandaTrack, it shows you that retail investors became really involved in the equity market towards the end of 2019 after commission-free trading was kind of a mainstream among US brokerages. Then after the pandemic, obviously, most retail investors saw that as the opportunity of a lifetime to buy stocks, and it's been pretty much steady since then. Our data shows that prior to the pandemic, they were buying around $200 million US per day. Since the pandemic, they've been buying roughly $1.2 billion US per day in US listed securities. And that's been pretty much steady over the last 12 months, which means it's kind of the new normal now.
But in terms of the influence that they can exercise and the control they can have in moving prices, I mean, GameStop is, of course, one example. But for a long-term structural story in the markets, do you think that they have come up with that kind of sophistication in their approach, in their style, that they can compete with the traditional players, whether they are the long-only funds or the hedge funds?
That's a really good question. And when you look at flows in cash equities, the story or the conclusion that most people would come to is that it's probably difficult for them to exercise such an influence. In reality, retail use a combination of cash equity purchases and call option purchases, which tend to be around 20% of their total purchases. And when they buy so many calls, especially if they're short dated and out of the money, that creates a sort of gamma squeeze that makes moves in stocks parabolic. Outside of that, I would say, and especially when it comes to GameStop, one of the things that we've seen is that retail were really involved during the first rally in the GameStop stock. But in the second leg of the rally, which happened 2-3 weeks ago, we haven't seen that much participation from retail investors on our VandaTrack portal, which means a lot of institutional investors have been involved. They've been trying to front run retail investors, which is something that we're starting to see more and more, people trying to see what the next retail bubble or hot asset will be and trying to anticipate those flows.